Hey there, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan here, looking at this 2007 Chevrolet Trailblazer. Kind of a weird car to be buying from Japanese auctions for export over to Canada, but a lot of these kind of, you know, close to 20-year-old, sometimes 15-year-old SUVs that are imported en masse here to Japan, or in the case of this, sold brand new in Japan, can be sent back to their countries of origin at a cheaper price or in lower mileage than the ones that you can get back home. So kind of an interesting thing. We actually send a lot of German cars to Germany and a fair amount of American cars to Canada and the USA. If this one were going to the USA, actually this one's not actually legal for the USA. You can get them here, the ones that are legal, but it has to have been an imported one to Japan. This one here, a Japanese model, hence the quirky little fender mirror there, and the fact that it's in kilometers per hour. Japanese model. Now this one has 72,000 original kilometers, which is fairly low for this type of a vehicle. And this is my first time looking at one, and it's always interesting for me to look at a vehicle for the first time, especially something that's outside of what I normally buy. We do a lot of Land Cruisers and Hilux pickups and 4Runners, which is called the Hilux Surf, and Velfires and Skylines and Cedrics and Soarers and a Mark II wagon and then my cars. Not very many American cars, and the American cars that we do export, it seems to be like Chevy Astro vans, Escalades. First time for Trailblazer, first time for everything, I guess. So I'll switch the engine off. I will say that mechanically everything in the car works fine, all except for the four-wheel drive won't switch out of 4 low. So it's kind of stuck. You can switch this to whatever you want. It'll flash for about 20 seconds, and then it'll stop flashing and it'll stay in the 4 low. It's definitely in 4 low because when you try to turn the wheels tight, you get a little bit of a hopping of the tires, or the tires scrubbing on the ground. Just switch this off for now. And even if you go in reverse or forward for like 10 or 20 meters, it still doesn't fix anything. So there's something wrong with the actuator. Other than that, the body, I would say, is probably about a 9 out of 10. And the interior is probably about a 9 out of 10 as well. Engine works fine. Exhaust sounds fine. It's been lowered and put onto 22-inch wheels. And so it is quite interesting for me. Quite interesting indeed. So this engine, 4.2 liter. I don't even know the number of cylinders. I would suspect 3 on each bank, so a total of 6. But I can't count anything. There's no exhaust that I can see. There's no intake that I can see. But 4.2 would be too small for an American V8. So I'm going to say that this is a V6. And the coolant and the oil both look fine. We got an interesting little structural bar here. Only on this side it helps hold the battery in place. Not on the other side. We got an air filter over here. Intake plenum here. Or intake piping to the intake plenum. And don't even know how much power this puts out, but it will be edited into the video so that you can see it at the beginning. Usually an American V8 is going to be a high torque, but comparatively low power for being a 4.2 liter. I would suspect somewhere in the range of about 250 to 265 horsepower if I was just to guess. Okay, so let's go over the auction inspection sheet first, and this will explain the condition of the vehicle for you. This is the information given to us from the seller and from the auction inspector. So let's quickly translate this from Japanese into English. It's a 2007 Chevrolet Trailblazer LTZ edition, or LTZ, I could call it that because it's American. 4200cc gasoline engine, auction rate 4, interior B with sunroof, power steering, power windows, leather, and airbag. It's original white, hasn't been color changed, and still has current registration on it. That's why you see the plate on there. It has sales points here stating it has a toll collection box for Japanese highways, aftermarket Navi, reverse camera, leather seats. The seats in an American vehicle are very American feeling compared to a Japanese seat. It's quite interesting. Even in something like a Tundra or a Tacoma, these Toyota vehicles that are made for the American market are very different from a Japanese product. It's been lowered, aftermarket 22-inch wheels, comes with a spare key and remote, like a opening remote. And it says, for the problems with the car, seat wrinkles and wear. Interior slightly dirty and scratched. From what I've seen, it's immaculately clean. You just see this on almost all of the auction sheets. It's very common. Wheels scratched and very small scratches, small dents. Here on the body, we have a side skirt cover, AY3, which is a large scratch and crack. We have A2 on the front bumper, a repainted fender here, and then basically nothing else, just that. Okay, so if you were to basically replace that the running board on the right-hand side, you would have a 9.3, 9.4, I don't know. Once you get to the top, it's hard to become a 10 unless it's a new car, and you can't really do that on a 15-year-old vehicle. The Trailblazer, I guess, competes with like Japanese cars would be like a Hilux Surf, i.e. the Japanese name for the what would be called a 4Runner in America. Maybe a Land Cruiser Prado. Too big to be like a CR-V or RAV4. Honda Pilot, but they don't sell that here. Kia Soul, maybe? Ford Explorer. Yeah. Really interesting, especially when it's been lowered, because you would expect a vehicle that is this big. And I'm in Japan. This, even though this is a mid-size SUV or even a small-size SUV, still is large here in Japan. It's surprising how low to the ground how it is and how easy it is to exit or get into. Ingress or egress. I don't even know if that's the right word for it. Okay, it looks good in white with the black wheels with the chrome accenting in there. Looking at problems here, we have a little bit of fade on the headlights. This goes for both of them. The front bumper and the rear bumper have this unpainted plastic and it's discolored. I believe that there's a product that you can use. I think like Back to Black or something like that. And then down here we have some scratches. Here's our A2 right here, 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 and here. Not too visible from outside of the car, and a little bit of fade on the fog light. So there's that. Side panel here, so this apparently has been repainted. It looks fine to me. The panel's a little bit dirty, but other than that, it looks good. Okay. Side panel, all excellent. Extremely good. Has these LED tail lights here. And then I think this is for Japanese registration. You need a rear fog lamp, so that's been installed. Comes with a trailer hitch. That might even be a factory item. Okay, I'll open up the interior and go in there in a sec. Get up here, we have roof racks. And they look like OEM roof racks. I think most, like something like this will come with these things from factory, and then the bars that come across would be a dealer option usually. And then there's the sunroof up there. Okay, no leaks in the exhaust. That all looks really good. And this side, again, pretty much immaculate, but the side step looks like it hit something and a piece cracked off, and that piece has been glued back on. So you can see it's a little loose here. And then up here, it's stuck on pretty well with this kind of JB Weld looking material. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they use, because you can get that here. Okay, now getting a side skirt like this shouldn't be too hard in North America. These vehicles are everywhere, and I suspect that should be a pretty easy fix. Here in Japan, it wouldn't be. Okay, and yeah, this little fender mirror, very cool. Very common to see something like this on a Japanese vehicle or any of these American vehicles, like the Ford Explorers have them, or the Jeeps. Jeep Cherokee would be probably something that's pretty similar in size to this. And it gives you a view from, yes, this is in Japan. This is a left-hand drive though, so new, you could probably buy these as both left and right-hand drive, or maybe only left-hand drive. I feel like it depends on the year or the make of the model of these American trucks, whether you can get them in left-hand drive or right-hand drive. But plenty of people here in Japan will drive either side of the street. It's pretty common. But yeah, this one here allows you to see right here on your fender for parking. It's really good. Or right on the front to see how far you are away from something before you hit it. Not super useful in North America because the roads are wider and the parking spots are bigger. But here in Japan, it absolutely can help. The underside looks all rust-free, which is excellent. I suspect a vehicle of this era in Canada that's been spending all of its time in Canada has a good chance of being fairly rusty on the underside. So if you want a clean Trailblazer, you now know where you can buy one. Looking in the trunk here, you have a fair amount of space. It looks about the exact same as a Hilux Surf. Maybe a little bit wider, but a little bit less deep. And then 60/40 fold down seats here. You also have a little storage compartment. And everything just feels a little bit different for an American vehicle. Like this would be made out of a different plastic and maybe a little bit smaller in a Japanese vehicle. Tie downs normally wouldn't have such large bolts there. I can't even flip up the tie down. Looks like you have 5 of them. And plastics are different. Carpets are different. It's a very different kind of feel. Okay, close this off. Go into the back seats. You get plenty of leg room here. And the seats are more comfortable in this than most of the Japanese SUVs that you can get. 2000, I guess this would have been the same time as the 100 series Land Cruiser, but the Land Cruiser is a little bit bigger than this. And a little bit smaller than, I guess, the bigger... What's on top of this in North America? Chevy... Is the Yukon? Or is that GMC? Well, the Yukon would be the bigger one. And the Land Cruiser is somewhere between this and the Yukon in terms of size. Let's close that properly. And I'll go over to the other side so we can see the driver's area. Now, the wear on the seat needs to be fixed. It's one of the only issues in here. Door card is fine. You have memory seats here, 2 different settings. The power windows here are auto down only, not auto up, which is a little bit weird. It looks like you have seat heater for the back, or the bottom and the back, and then 3 different levels. Kind of nice to see that. It says Chevrolet on the scuff plate. Seat here, lots of little wrinkle wear on the outside bolster. But besides this section here, the whole seat appears to be in really good condition, including the outside bolster on the back. The leather feels like a decent quality. Sometimes, like, especially when more leather is used, like on a bigger vehicle, you'll get a lower quality leather. This one seems fine. That said, this needs to be dyed back to the same color, and then some sort of a finishing to keep it protected. Generally pretty comfortable. It's a little bit cushier than I'm used to, which some people are going to like. I prefer a firmer seat, but I don't know if I'm in the minority there. It seems like a lot of people like these squishy seats. Oh, and the seat moves just a little bit when you're sitting in it. You can hear it, so you might want to check the bolts to see. It seems like it's bolted down fine. I don't know if that's normal for these or whatnot. Okay, leather-wrapped steering wheel. A little bit of wear on the steering wheel, like right here. Has buttons on it for various functions. Gauge set looks 1993. I guess gauges nowadays are a lot more, well, non-1993 looking. That's for certain. I'll just turn this on so that you can see. Like the LCD in it. Looks very old school. Same thing with this display down here. That beeping is kind of annoying. Okay, it has an aftermarket Navi screen that's dual DIN size, and the dashboard is, hard plastic. To me, a little bit cheap feeling, but not necessarily. Japanese dashboards, I think, can feel just as cheap, but maybe that's just what I'm used to. This is huge, which is kind of funny, a little bit shaky. And then 2 cup holders here for 12-ounce cans, or 355 if you do metric. This one's a little bit bigger. Not sure why you get 2 different sizes. This opens up and you can get Stant. I don't even know what that is. Is that an oil filter? Lock cap with key. Cool. Okay, and an airbag over there, and you also get airbags up here. It looks like the headliner has been washed at some point. That's a little weird. Okay, well, Chevrolet Trailblazer on its way to Canada, from Japan to Canada. And this was made in, America. The VIN number starting with a 1 means it was made in America. So made in America, going to Japan, then going to Canada. Kind of a weird little trip for it. But anyways, that's going to be the end of this review. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and have a nice day.